Here we go on a very lovely Sunday afternoon with Cynthia and Dan Crews. And I am Kassi Crews. And we are thrilled again to be doing another show. Thrilled beyond belief. We will leap over every hurdle and race to the finish line. So, Dan, I have a couple things that I thought we might be able to talk about, but what do you want to talk about?
Well, I want to hear about Cynthia's vacation, sabbatical, trip, what have you.
Oh.
But she's sort of tight-lipped about it. She's
a little tight-lipped right now. Her lips are a little teeny tight. Loosen them up?
No, not really.
You're not too much of an extrovert, are you?
No, I'm not at all.
But this is a perfect forum because no one can see you.
That's true.
And no one even knows your last name, so...
She just said my last name.
Oh, she did? I missed it.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I'll make sure I bleep that out.
There you go. No, that's okay. What do you want to know?
Just everything, pretty much.
Okay, let's see.
Well, let me just...
Well, in January...
Go ahead.
Okay, go ahead.
I was just going to give an overview that you've built a home up in the mountains and that you spent the last 6 months up there.
Right.
And it sounds wonderful.
Yeah, I built a log home, and I was up there for about 6 months, and just kind of finishing some of the stuff off. None of the inside was finished, no paint, no floors and stuff like that. So
just like the Extreme Makeover Home Edition.
Yeah,
right?
kind of. Yeah, kind of like while you were out.
Took you a little longer. Yeah.
Took me a lot longer since I was working on my own.
Did you have help up there? Or?
No, I did most of it myself.
Wow. So you're doing framing and drywall? And
oh, no, all that's done.
All that was done?
Yeah, all that's done.
And electrical and plumbing was all done?
Yeah, everything.
She had it all done, though.
Yeah, I didn't do that.
Right.
She didn't do it, but she had it done.
I see.
The only thing I was finishing
so you're doing cosmetic stuff.
Like the cosmetic stuff, exactly.
Tile in the bathroom and paint.
Right.
Cool.
Right, the baseboards, the crown molding, stuff like that.
Neat. It's kind of fun when you're not getting paid for it.
Well, and it's yours.
And it's yours.
Right.
When you're getting paid for it, it becomes work very quickly.
Exactly. And if you didn't want to work one day, you just didn't work.
Sleep in late.
Exactly.
Neat.
Yep.
And your cats liked it? Did you ever let them out of the house?
Yeah, actually, I have a fenced-in yard, so I would take them out. I wouldn't let them out there by themselves because there's coyotes, so I would always be out there. I'd take them out in the morning and then in the afternoon.
Neat.
So they had fun. They adjusted pretty quickly, which I was kind of surprised about. I thought it would take them a while, but it was so big that it would chase each other around, so
Neat.
They loved it, yeah.
What fun.
Yeah.
And they're back in their cage now, right?
No, actually, my little garage kitty that started out as a garage kitty is now in the house.
Oh.
Because they actually became buddies while they were up there. So
cool. Well, they didn't have anybody else, right?
Exactly. They kind of had to.
Neat.
Neato.
Anything else you'd like to tell us?
No, I think that's it.
It was very relaxing, wasn't it?
It was very relaxing. It's a much different atmosphere than...
Was it hot
here.
Or was it cold?
It was... Well, when I first moved up, it was cold. We had kind of a hot spell in April, which was unusual. But it started cooling down, of course, just when I left to come back down here. So, but it was nice.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah, it was nice.
I had a week off in April.
Where did you go?
I didn't go anywhere. I slept in and laid around.
Hey, sometimes that's the best kind of vacation.
It was one of the best vacations I've had in a long time. So,
I would like to have that kind of vacation.
You could use a vacation.
Really badly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Vacation would be vacation good. Vacation time good. Work all time bad. I know I work way too many hours. But the thing that I'm going to... did we finish with your vacation, though?
Yeah.
Well, we're never really finished. If you wish to add something, jump in.
Okay.
I will.
Tell us about it. I'd like to hear about it.
Let us know about your septic tank, because that's what you have to have up there, right?
Yeah, but that's not really an interesting subject, I don't think.
It is, though, because you know what, though? Everywhere you go, you got to go to the bathroom sometime throughout the day. No matter where you are, you got to go.
And it goes somewhere.
It has to go somewhere.
People don't ever...
I'm quite interested with where everything goes.
It goes down the toilet. That's all I really care to know about.
End of story.
Exactly.
But doesn't it go in a big tank and then somebody has to come and get it?
Well, it goes in a big tank, but then you have leaching lines that go out. It actually, the enzymes will eventually eat it all up. It'll all be gone, but all the liquid that it becomes leaches out through the lines that they put out into the fields. They're called leach lines.
Oh. And so it drains out into the fields.
Right, exactly.
It's not like a tank in an RV. It's actually a closed system.
Right.
I should say it's an open system, but it's a loop.
Right.
Because it does get reprocessed back into whatever,
into the environment, basically.
Whatever it is.
Right, exactly.
I did not know that. But that is a good thing to know.
Isn't that interesting?
I didn't realize. Is that all septic tanks are like that? Because
that's how septic tanks work. Yeah.
But you do.
But are there
if they're
septic
overused,
tanks?
Yeah, you do have to have them pumped every once in a while if they're overused, because your washing machine goes into there, which is basically just gray water. So it'll fill the tank, but that water, all the water stuff, like from your kitchen sink, your garbage disposal, if you have a garbage disposal, your washing machine, your showers, that all goes in there too. But that's just water, so that'll all just leach out.
And then
fairly quickly.
And then the other stuff, does it go through a process in the tank?
No, it's just the enzymes from us,
everything.
from our waste. Our enzymes that are in the waste that you put in there will eventually eat all that stuff away.
Wow.
So
We're pretty cool.
That's not how regular sewer systems work, though.
How do the regular sewer systems work?
They go into big reservoir type things.
Big septic tanks and actually reprocessing places that actually process waste and process sewage. That's how most cities work. Like your facility here, it's not septic based. Mm-hmm. But out the country and certainly some homes have septic tanks, and that's the old way. But if you're not attached to the grid, then that's what you have to do. And when she's out in the woods like that, you wouldn't be attached to the grid. It wouldn't be worth it.
No, she's not attached to very many things.
I'm not attached to anything.
You have electricity out there, right?
Yeah, but I have solar and generator.
Wow. So you're not attached to the...
Nothing.
How about
No, she doesn't even have a...
Really?
I dug a well.
Wow.
I didn't dig it, but
Right,
I had
I
a well
understand.
dug.
Wow.
Yeah.
Cool.
And how was the water up there?
The water's very nice.
Really?
Yeah, it's like spring water.
Really? You just tapped right in somewhere, or?
Yeah, they drilled the hole. They had to go 350 feet. Just drilled a hole down in through. It's all that whole area is lava, because there's 2 volcanoes there. So everything down below is lava, and there's layers and layers of water just running through, like there's underwater streams and
lava
lakes.
cleans things, isn't it? Like isn't that a cleaner
Yeah.
of water? Hey, natural stuff going on, man. How cool.
Yeah, most of it's pretty clean. Some areas, like my area, has a lot of iron in the water.
What does that do?
Nothing. It's just, well, it discolors your faucets and stuff like that. But eventually that'll flush out. You know, the more you use it, the more it flushes out. But it is in the water itself. So, and iron is good for you. So, as long as you don't overdo it, I guess.
Wow, cool.
Wow. So
That's what happens.
you are off the grid.
I'm off the grid. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I just assumed you had electricity.
No.
She had to make everything happen herself. She
That's
bought
cool.
this 40 acres of land, and
Yeah.
she got herself a mule. Kitty.
To plow the back 40.
Yeah.
So, did you watch any television while you were up there?
Oh yeah, I have satellite.
Oh,
TV.
yeah, satellite. Okay.
Yeah.
Of course, she watched television.
Did you catch the last episode of Friends? Is that
Yes, I did.
Isn't that amazing? You're off in the woods by yourself and you caught the last episode of Friends.
And how about the Lakers the other night?
I'm not a Laker fan anymore.
Oh,
I haven't been a Laker fan for a couple years. I don't like the Lakers.
Oh, okay.
What did they do?
They won by 1.
No. I mean, what did they do so that she's no longer a Laker fan?
Oh.
I don't like Kobe, Shaq, Phil Jackson. I just don't like their whole persona.
Oh.
They're arrogant and. But that's how
they are multimillionaire basketball stars. It's hard not to get arrogant from that.
I know,
so.
but to me, being a Laker fan for as long as I was a Laker fan, to me that franchise was always a class. And when the class act, they weren't arrogant. They didn't taunt people. They didn't act like they were multimillionaires because they're just basketball players.
Right.
You know, they're not brain surgeons or
God's
anything.
gift.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they have that attitude, and I don't like that attitude. So I'm no longer a fan. Once those guys are gone and they change back, or they become more like... I'm a Spurs fan. I love the Spurs because I think they're a class organization.
It's interesting because that's opposite of the way most people think.
Right. Yeah.
You know, you get a few stars in there, and you start winning a few games, and people become fans.
Right. But then once they start losing, they're not fans anymore,
True.
so they're like fair weather fans.
Certainly they're fair weather fans.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, Karl Malone, he came on board just so he could win.
Right.
You know, just so he could win the ring.
Right, and Gary Payton.
And
I never liked
Payton as well.
I never liked either one of those, so why would I like them just because they're a Laker?
Right.
You know, so.
Right.
But...
So, did you hear what they did? Did you hear
Yeah,
what...
no, I watched the games because they were playing the Spurs.
Oh.
And unfortunately, they beat the Spurs, so the Spurs are out of the playoffs now.
Wow.
But by one, right?
Well, yeah, but they played yesterday, and they beat them by like 10,
beat 'em
I
again,
think.
yeah.
Oh, they played again.
So they won the conference, Western Conference, right?
Semis.
Semis?
Yeah.
Oh. And they're going to go play Sacramento.
Or Minnesota.
Oh, I see. Whoever wins that. I see. I like the game. I don't watch much of it. I did see the end of the Laker game because it made every piece of news.
Yeah.
For a week.
The
last 4 seconds, right?
0.4 seconds.
Yeah.
4/10 of a second.
4/10 of a second. Yeah, and he made the shot, so it's pretty exciting. But
everybody was screaming in my office.
Prior to that, Tim Duncan had made a difficult shot to take the lead. So the Spurs had had just gotten the lead, and were going to win.
Yeah,
and that's why it was seesaw back and forth. Why it was so amazing.
It was very exciting.
It was pretty exciting.
And I was watching something else, and I heard my neighbors scream. That's why I turned it.
Yeah, it was very. I had to go watch it because
the
people in my office were screaming.
Yeah, I think I was watching The Simpsons or something.
Yeah,
so,
The Simpsons.
I didn't really care who won. I just wanted to laugh.
You don't get too excited,
no,
okay?
I tend not to.
Yeah. Only when you're heated up.
When I'm heated?
Yeah. I've seen you be heated. Don't even mess with me.
I get excited. I do get excited about stuff, but I try and what's my point here?
The point is that
there are things to get excited about. But
and there are some things to not get excited about. Yesterday.
And there's also recognizing even when you're excited that maybe you still have to deal with the issue. See, that's what people get worked up and then they lose focus of what they're dealing with. And they get caught up in their own anger instead of still dealing with the issue.
That's true.
Yeah, and that happens a lot, frankly. You know, like the outrage over these prison abuse.
What do you think? Somebody said to me that it was Americans that sliced his throat.
Can you imagine?
That would be...
It was on videotape.
I know.
It wasn't American.
But they're saying that they dressed up as... Americans dressed up as those people. And they're trying to claim that, well, look, it's in the prison. Look at the chairs. Look at this. Look, They're trying to do that, and they're saying Americans
really
dressed
disgusting.
up
it's really disgusting.
to do that, so they'll hate.
Who's saying
so
that?
The Americans.
These are the same people.
Different people that are doing propaganda.
These are the same people that they're saying. You know, George Bush had a hand in bringing down the World Trade Center towers. I mean, that's just stupid, and it's irresponsible, and it's ridiculous. You know, but it's conspiracy theories, and you really can't put them away because it's a closed loop. You know, they say, oh, it's a conspiracy, and then you try and explain to them it's not, and you say, well, you're in on the conspiracy.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and they've gotten to you, or they've tricked you, and so you just can't win. You can't convince these people because they think everything is a conspiracy. These are the same people that believe in ghosts and UFOs, and you can never reach them to explain to them why this doesn't make sense. I mean, you're calling these people murderers, cold-blooded killers, you know, instead of the reality is that our enemies
are cold-blooded killers, and they do that. That's why...
Who delight in other people's pain and other people's misery. And the CIA has determined that actually is Zarqawi, who was a Jordanian Al-Qaeda operative. And what I find amazing is that he is in Baghdad, because they found that man's body on the street in Baghdad. So that tape happened in Baghdad. I didn't watch it. I couldn't. But my boss actually said he did. He watched it. So it's pretty horrible.
Well, where did they broadcast it on? Just on the internet,
yeah,
right?
just on the internet. Yeah.
Because I know none of the news shows were showing it.
They showed stills, and actually one of the news
they showed a little bit of
to a certain point,
right up to him putting the knife to his throat.
Oh, I didn't see that. I just saw it as he took it out of his shirt. That's as far as I saw it.
One of the newscasts showed it right up to his throat.
Wow. Didn't see that.
It really is horrible. And it's not just...
Well, it's nothing... I don't think we need to see that.
Well, the thing is, let me ask you a question. Do you have a problem if they air it? I don't have a problem if they air anything, because they should be able to air everything so we can see what's going on and we can be part of the information pipeline if it's not something that is going to harm our secret or harm us in that regard.
Does that include sexual behavior as well? Do you think they should just show that, or is violence okay and sex isn't? I mean, it comes back to Janet Jackson with her showing her boob, right?
Oh my God, that thing is that one cracks me up though, because come on, everybody has boobs. You see it in National Geographic. We just all have them. Just get over it. Just like for me, I just think to myself, how silly that anybody's spending any time focusing on that. And we're giving it so much more coverage, and we're actually giving it life.
I wish Janet Jackson would not have apologized and just said, look, it's just my breast. Get over it, people.
Exactly.
I wish that would have been her response.
I'm just a person. I'm just a person with a breast. Sorry, there was a mistake that happened.
Yeah.
Duh. Come on.
It's
just like for me, I'm sick of it. It's like, then everybody's like, oh my God. And there's such an outrage. It's just like,
get over it, people.
There's such an outrage, and we're killing people. Yeah. Okay, we're killing people in Iraq. There's terrorists that are killing us. That's what the outrage should be saved for. That's just my personal opinion. I still haven't seen the Janet Jackson boob, but I've seen boobs before.
So back to your point was...
I've seen a lot of them, so Back
to your point was showing the video unless it compromises something else, unless it compromises safety, security.
Right, but I also don't believe in restrictions of pornography. I don't believe in a lot of restrictions either. I just don't... I think as soon as you make something illegal... the bad guys are always going to find a way to go around it. Then you make regulations. If you make it illegal, then you have to make regulations. You have to enforce things. And the people who are really going to want to do the things anyway, they're going to find a way to do it. Prohibition doesn't work. That's just one of my opinions. So,
yeah, but where do you draw the line?
I don't know.
Yeah, we were talking about yesterday.
That is a difficult line to draw at some point.
It's about where do you draw the boundary. Because there are some things that you can't show. And I read a great editorial yesterday concerning the pictures of the prison abuse of Abu Ghraib prison. It wasn't the abuse that has so outraged America. And because the abuse went on in January and February, it was the release of the pictures. Because suddenly it's the power of the visual image. And you have no context. And also part of the problem is that we blame a whole group of people. You blame all Americans for the actions of a few.
Right.
And suddenly it becomes open season on Americans. And that's part of the problem. And that's broad. And that happens everywhere and to everybody. It's a form of prejudice. One black guy does one thing and suddenly you blame all black people everywhere throughout history. The same is true of the Jews. A few Jews may or may not have been involved in the death of Jesus, and suddenly all Jews throughout history are responsible for the death of Jesus. And that's part of the problem, is that we don't have individual responsibility. We categorize whatever category he may be in, or she may or may not be in, we condemn the whole category. And there's something wrong with that mindset. Instead of viewing it as an individual behavior and punishing the individual. If I've done something, punish me. But don't punish people who happen to look like me or happen to share my nationality or happen to share my color. That's part of the problem. And this whole attitude that it's okay to murder innocent people just because they happen to share some attribute with people that have done something to you.
Right.
That's part of the problem. But it is a form of prejudice, and it relieves people from the responsibility of thinking, because suddenly you have an enemy. and your enemy shares some category. And that's part of the problem with wanting to pay reparations to former slaves. Not former slaves, but descendants of slaves.
Right.
My grandparents were French. I didn't do it. My grandparents didn't even do it. My grandparents were French. They moved here, in the 1900s. So it doesn't make any sense, for the president, the current president, I think it was Clinton, apologizing for slavery. This country fought a war in order to end slavery.
Right.
So,
a lot of white people died to free the black slaves.
Exactly. So, it doesn't make sense.
Including Abraham Lincoln. Sorry, I had to do it.
No,
Sorry.
Throw it in. Don't apologize. That's what we're doing.
But he didn't die because of the slavery, but he was a very powerful man in that. God he did die too.
But
God knows why you take a shot at the president.
Right.
I mean, what's the point of that? What is the statement that John Wilkes Booth was trying to make by killing Abraham Lincoln? Even I don't know. Do you know?
Do you think he really tried to kill him?
He did.
Killed him.
He did kill him. What do you mean, do you think he tried? He succeeded. I think he succeeded.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the same thing with John Hinckley. He took a shot at the president. What's your point?
I don't know. What was the point? The point was to get him out of office.
To do what?
What was the point of killing Kennedy? Assassinating Kennedy? Both the Kennedys.
Both the Kennedys.
Well,
or Timothy McVeigh killing 168 people at the Murrah building in Oklahoma City. What is your goal?
Other than you don't like the government, so you blow up a government building, but you killed a lot of kids.
And then once you have that forum, why are you keeping your mouth shut?
Right.
You wanted to make a statement. You made the statement.
Right.
Now,
what is it?
Now, what is your point?
Now make your statement so everyone knows what your statement is.
You've got the world's attention. Now say something.
But no, somebody's talked them into doing something to make the statement that they want to make for themselves, and just by doing it, bombing, shooting, the president killing, the statement is the statement. So they don't think there's anything left to say.
Murdering innocents. Bringing down a building and killing a bunch of innocent people who happen to work for the government. No, in his mind,
I'm sure it was something different, right?
I don't know. I don't
know.
That's my question. What is your point?
Because I don't think he ever really came out and said exactly what his point was, other than he was unhappy with the government.
As soon as he got the world's attention,
who
he stopped
isn't unhappy
talking.
with the government sometimes?
Right. It's a bureaucracy.
Well, also, don't you think that there's a lot of people that are mentally ill? Seriously.
That are running the government? Is that what you mean?
Running.
That are in charge?
They're in charge.
Or that are voting.
That are voting. There's a lot of people that I really have been very naive in this regard, but there's a lot of people that are functioning people that don't
have a clue what they're doing?
Yeah.
And are just barely getting by?
Yeah.
My boss is a functioning alcoholic. He drinks way too much. He gets plastered on the weekends. Barely finds his way to work on a Monday morning. And yet he's able to do his job and produce revenue for the company. But he's a drunk. He's a completely uninformed drunk. He doesn't watch the news. He doesn't read the paper. And yet his vote is going to count. That's what's so funny about this trying to fix the hanging Chad things. If someone can't operate the ballot, maybe their vote shouldn't count.
Right. Maybe they shouldn't be voting.
Maybe they shouldn't be voting.
They don't even know how to do that.
If they can't operate the ballot, if they can't figure out
how to punch a hole that's already punched for you, pretty much.
How to work the ballot, maybe it's okay that their vote doesn't count. Maybe it's okay that they've been disenfranchised. Democracy is the worst system in the world, except for all the others.
Huh? What?
Same is true of capitalism. It's the worst economic system in the world, except for all the others.
Well, capitalism is the best that there is right now.
Well, it's the worst except for all the others.
Except for all the others. I don't get it.
Well, it's a joke because it's not a good system. It's not a fair system. It's not a just system. If your goal is fairness and justice, it doesn't serve those purposes. But neither does any of the others.
Oh, okay.
That's the point. So, and the same is true of democracy. Majority rule is not a good system. Because then the majority, if 55% of the people decide that 45% of the people should die, that's democracy. But that's not fair.
What is fairer?
Fairer?
What is
or fair?
What is fair?
I don't know. I mean, there really is no system for fairness. Living and dying isn't fair. Life isn't fair.
Damn.
Yeah, damn.
Is that what's been going on?
That's what's going on. The power goes to the man with the biggest gun. Knowledge might be power, but cash is king. So it's all a...
and brute force can take you down.
Might does not make right, but it's sure.
But it does kill you.
It sure helps. Yeah.
But it can kill you and snuff you out.
It sure does make the decisions. It may not be right, but it does make the decisions. So, and thank God, that America, which is founded on the principles of fairness and justice, even though it may not always achieve those goals, thank God we're the only remaining superpower. And that's a function of our economic system, which encourages
capitalism,
which encourages
personal responsibility,
individual greed.
See, I went to personal responsibility.
That plays to our strengths. That plays to human strength. Whereas communism, which looks good on paper, from each according to their abilities, to each according to their needs. That sounds great.
It sounds great, but what happens is Donna, the gal that I was connecting with yesterday.
You're going to want to give a little background if necessary.
Well, I will, but I just want to mention that... now I forgot what I wanted to mention,
sorry.
Actually. That's okay.
I mentioned communism, and you brought up a homeless person.
Oh, no. It was because one of the things in her mind is that all the people that are rich should help everyone else, and all the people that are poor and homeless should be the ones getting the help. And I told her that it sounds great. It sounds great, but what happens is all the people that are lazy and that want to have all these excuses, that don't want to have to work real hard, are going to be the ones that are saying, I'm the needy one. I'm the one that needs the help. And then there's going to be 20% of the people, which are the ones that are working now really hard to make money, to support everything that's going on. I mean, it kind of has come to that because democracy, I mean, our government is very much, in a lot of respects, based in that philosophy. That's why we have so many government programs that I just think do not work.
We really don't have a capitalist system. We have... We admire capitalism, we promote capitalism, but many of our structures are socialist in nature. Medi-Cal is a socialist system.
And it just doesn't work, though.
And welfare.
It just doesn't work, though.
Unemployment insurance.
All that stuff is
it's
like a welfare-based.
All those things.
Yeah.
And aid to families with dependent children, AFDC it's called. And those are compassionate systems that are in place to help people who need help.
Right.
And I'm not speaking out against them. I'm in favor of them, but even those systems are corrupt.
Right.
The new Medicare bill it serves the drug companies.
Serves the drug companies and the administrators.
People who need the drugs. It serves the drug companies.
But most of those
corporations,
most of those departments of the government do that. It's the people.
She said do.
Do. I did say do.
What do you mean they do that? They do what?
The administrators and the people that are lobbyists or whatever the self-interest of that department, whoever has got the most amount of money to have their ear or what it's supposed to be more tailored like, that's always the favored. It is never about the people. It's never the issue about the elderly. The same thing with Social Security. For 1 second, for somebody to say, I don't care if he is the economical guru of America. Sorry, Social Security is going to run out, and everybody that's been investing in it, sorry.
Who said that?
Greenspan said that.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. Oh. Sorry, it's going to happen in, year 2000 and
25?
Yeah, exactly. Year 2025. Oh, great incentive.
Well, I think actually what he was saying is that the system needs to be reformed because in its current structure, it will run out. That was his point.
Yeah, and what are we doing to reform?
Nothing. Well, it's not a crisis yet. Government doesn't do anything until it's a crisis.
That's what I'm saying to you. That's just, it's silly. That it's just the bureaucracy of government.
You're asking them to promote programs that require risk.
No, I'm asking them to promote responsibility for our tax money.
What?
Well, actually, what they're going to promote
stuffing it in their pockets.
is that you save
give
money
them-
on your own,
and you
since
give
know
me
that
more
in
money.
10 or 15 years, or when you get to
but
the
you
point
still
where,
give me money. I'm the government. You still give me all your money. And you better also save the little bit that I left for you because I ain't giving it back.
Well, but that's what our system is
warning
based
us.
on.
That's what he's
If
warning
you
what
want to
taxes
say,
are.
that's right.
That's what taxes are. They take your money and they do whatever they want with it.
Well, not Social Security is not supposed to be that.
Supposed to be.
It's not
It
supposed
is.
It's
to
not
be
supposed
that.
to be.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a separate system. But
A
it's
separate
not.
account. Well,
But it's
all of
not.
it's supposed to be something for the welfare of the people.
But
and
even
what I'm
that is
saying
corrupt.
is
Look at the people who.
run it.
No, it's not necessarily the people who run it. There's a lot of people who defraud it, who are getting Social Security who shouldn't be getting Social Security.
Driving
Agreed. And then let me ask
driving
you.
my Cadillac to the welfare office.
Exactly.
There you go. And then let me ask you something. Aren't we also teaching them that with how society is set up? We're also teaching underneath all the little people, they can go ahead and do that. So this bigger structure is saying, I'm going to rip you off. So, because we know you're going to rip us off.
I don't know that any system that is operated by humans is going to have elements of human nature, and corruption is an element of human nature. So the systems become corrupt.
Damn, I hate that part. So that means
so what
America's
we
corrupt,
want
and we
want
must
then-
cleanse it now.
Are you going to?
Yeah, but you can't just.
We're going to put you
cleanse,
in charge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you should.
I think so too.
Oh, I think that'd be pretty
Can
scary.
I be?
What? We would all be singing Kumbaya
Can I be your
at sunset.
Can I be your Secretary of War?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, man. And then you'd have to start the bonfires.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll hold hands.
Your dudeness. Can I refer to you as your dudeness? I watched.
I prefer princess.
Princess. You wanna be a
Or,
princess?
or oracle.
I watched George Stephanopoulos interview King Abdullah II of Jordan this morning, and he's a nice king, and George Stephanopoulos kept referring to him as Your Majesty, and it seems so 18th century to me. It was really strange. But he is. I mean, he's the king of
He's the
Jordan.
king,
yeah. It just seemed odd for George Stephanopoulos, who
He was
who
instructed.
had the ear of Clinton for so many years.
He was instructed to.
Well, of course, but it just seemed anachronistic is the word, out of place in terms of time. It just seemed odd for him to be referring to him as Your Majesty. It just sounded so odd.
There's a lot of countries that still have kings.
I know. I just watched the Prince of Denmark get married to some New Zealand girl he met in a bar. It was fascinating. A royal wedding in Denmark. Horses and soldiers and, guys with the funny hats and, medals all over their chests and tens of thousands of people in the street. And it's just some commoner he's marrying, Just he's the Prince of Denmark, and she's become the princess.
How very
just
nice.
like you want it to be.
Yes,
Yes.
how very
It
lovely.
was beautiful.
Charles and Diane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look where she is now. Do you think that they killed her on purpose?
God, no. It was a traffic accident. 'Cause
Seriously?
The driver was doing 90 miles an hour in a tunnel. That's all. No?
No, that's what I.
Oh.
Why,
Yeah,
why
this-
would they want to kill her?
Yeah, this comes back to the whole conspiracy thing.
Yeah,
It's
they
I
like
know.
I
Everybody,
heard
there's a
so much-
conspiracy for
for
everything, though.
For everything.
People who are like twisted or off center a little bit always come up with some kind of conspiracy thing. Oh, it's a conspiracy
And then you can never reach them because,
because you're part of the
because you're part of
conspiracy.
it,
It's all wrapped up into the conspiracy.
yeah.
Same thing with JFK.
Yeah. Anybody and everybody and everything.
Do you think that was a conspiracy? Do you think the government killed him?
Because he was about to reveal the UFOs?
No, I think because he was going to stop the war. But that's just one of my opinions, because he was just getting ready shortly to announce that he was going to pull out and stop the war. And
Vietnam?
that's the one thing that they didn't want him to do, because economically it would be disastrous for them.
Part
and
of
if you notice,
Who's them?
the military-industrial complex.
Oh.
Part of the problem with trying to put down conspiracies that every once in a while turns out there is a conspiracy. And that only feeds the fire.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, that's part
So
of the
then what do you
problem with
do?
trying to convince people that there is no conspiracies. They have actual conspiracies to point to say that they didn't know this then, and it turns out to be this was true. So,
Did you not hear that about Kennedy?
No. I mean, I've heard every... Well, actually, yes, because I've heard every conspiracy. I've actually heard that he was about to reveal that there was aliens. So I've heard that conspiracy as well.
I heard that Clinton and aliens were like this.
I'm sure they probably were.
I saw a picture in the cover of the Weekly World News of Clinton and an alien.
See, I
actually,
told you.
It was JFK. He's living in an asylum in Sweden. He was never actually killed. And he was conversing with an alien baby. I think that's what it was.
Nice.
Yeah. In fact, I actually saw...
And Elvis was there too, right?
Elvis was there. I saw a picture on the Weekly World.
No drugs.
I saw a picture on the Weekly World cover of the
Every time you think of Elvis, I think of Elvis sitting on a toilet doing drugs. I have no idea why.
What a horrible way to die. What a horrible way to die.
Did he die? Did he die on a toilet?
Yeah. He died in the bathroom.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, that's what they say.
Yeah. Well, that's where apparently he was found. He was sprawled on the bathroom floor. So.
Apparently.
Yeah. I saw a picture on the cover of the World Weekly News with Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden getting married, and they were adopting an alien baby.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
You can't
that one I believe.
You can't make that up.
No, you can't make shit like that up.
You couldn't print it if it wasn't true.
That's
exactly.
Right. It couldn't be in black and white. Not at all. But the one thing that we have that's so great in America is we do have freedom of the press.
We do.
And we are censored a ton as far as what's on the media, and as far as the FCC is concerned. There's a ton of censorship.
I don't know that there's a ton of censorship. There's some swear words we can't use. Other than that, it's a free-for-all.
No, actually, there are certain things that they are not allowed to talk about.
You're not allowed to lie about stuff.
You actually are allowed to lie about stuff. Have you seen the entertainment news that's going on? Did you see National Enquirer? Did you see the other shows?
That stuff's as funny as the
Entertainment
comics.
Weekly.
But actually, you're not allowed to lie, and those companies get in trouble when they do lie. Like when they said Rowan Atkinson was a drug addict, and he actually took him to court, and he won $1 million or something. He had
to take him to court, though.
Yeah,
he had to prove them wrong.
That's the system.
So they can say anything they want.
Right.
But they also have a culpability and accountability in a court of law. So it does come to that. The Daily Mirror, I guess, was a fairly respected publication in England. They printed some photos of British soldiers abusing what were claimed to be Iraqi prisoners. Turned out the pictures were faked. This happened last week. The paper has had to print a retraction. They actually fired their editor, and he apologized. They apologized publicly.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's a big deal. So.
Wow.
And the same is true of I think it was the New York Times or the Chicago Sun-Times, and with Jason Blair, the reporter that turned out to be making up all kinds of stuff. There was another name, Stephen Glass was the man's name. There was a couple of reporters that just recently turned out to be making up all kinds of stuff. They were making up names and dates and places. And,
Well, I know the LA Times was doing that as well.
Were they?
Yeah.
I don't know.
When the war first came out, they were showing pictures of, I don't remember exactly what it was, but there was a whole thing where they had to apologize because they were putting phony pictures there and telling stories that weren't true.
The only one that I know of the LA Times did was one doctored photo that really wasn't, it was no substance. It didn't substantially change the picture. They had put some people that weren't in the background of one picture into the background of another picture. So the picture was doctored, right. And they have a policy against that. But I don't know of any other made-up stuff in the LA Times. Not that the LA Times is not,
beyond that.
Yeah, not that they're beyond that, or not that there's some, shining bastion of principles. I don't mean that, because they're not. I mean, they have a liberal viewpoint as well. Yeah. But so do all news. I mean, I watch the BBC in the afternoons. It comes on at 5 on Channel 28, and the BBC News, and they have such a liberal bent. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
But everybody has their own kind of bent, their own bias, and depending on who has the money or who runs the station, what they're going to air, what they're not, how they're going to skew things, how they want things to look.
That's why the liberals have created a whole network for talk radio, Air America, it's called, and Al Franken is one of the stars of that program.
Is that the satellite?
I don't know how they're distributing it, but I think it is satellite, I assume. It's being syndicated in 100 markets across the country, something along those lines. And it's being funded by a bunch of wealthy liberals to try and get this thing off the ground, to counteract the conservative talk radio system, Rush Limbaugh and those guys.
And Rush is still on after his little drug scandal.
Oh, yeah.
How's that going for him? I don't know. I
have no idea.
I don't listen to Rush.
I don't either.
Even when I agree with Rush, he's still a jerk. He's as big a jerk as Howard Stern is.
Yeah.
To me, I mean, even when.
But do you think that's why they made it because they're jerks?
I think that's part of it. There's a certain appeal to some people, to hear other people be insulted. It's very common. It happens in sitcoms. It happens in talk radio. It happens in movies.
Well, Howard did it because of the sexual stuff. Rush is just doing it because he's spouting his opinion on things.
Right. And talk radio is very strange. You can get 5% ratings, and that's a success in radio.
Because the market's so huge.
Because the market is so huge, and because there's so many choices. You get 5% on television, you wind up on Lifetime, if at all. Oh, I think I just slammed Lifetime.
I think you just did.
Lifetime is for women anyway.
Or sensitive men, which I consider myself one. So.
Or sensitive men.
If it's a good show, it's a good show.
Is it true if you're a guy and you don't like sports, you're gay?
Yes. No. Of course not. What?
I think it's true if you're a guy and you have emotions, that makes you gay.
Oh, is that true?
That's how that works. Yeah, men aren't actually allowed to have emotions.
They're not?
Yeah, and women aren't allowed to actually be tough either.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah.
Damn.
If a woman is tough and...
She's a lesbian.
And, yeah.
Well, I'm a lesbian then. Yeah. Oh. Wait a second.
So is this a big moment for us then? You're coming out of the closet? Is that what's happening?
Revelation.
I think it's unfortunate. I read a great quote. It said, there is more difference within the sexes than there is between the sexes. Within one gender, there's a greater difference between people than there is between the genders. We're not opposites. We're all people. And it's unfortunate that we've gotten into the system where men have to be tough and women have to be submissive, because women can be tough and men can be emotional, and those things are okay. It's not a matter of who you find attractive. It's a matter of being human.
Spoken from the lips of a babe.
Of a very sensitive and intelligent fella. But also tough. I mean, you push me the wrong way, and
watch out, I've seen it.
Yeah, you kiss your ass goodbye. I mean, I draw a distinction between sensitive and tough. Those are not opposites. It's like I use the metaphor of the skin on your fingers. The skin on your fingers is incredibly sensitive. It is also tougher than the skin anywhere else on your body. So you can be sensitive to circumstances and still be tough. So you want to comment on my metaphor?
That was a good one.
Thank you. I've been working on it.
Thank you.
And the old joke, of course, is what's a metaphor? Cows to graze in.
Ba-dum-bum. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back right after these words.
From our Lifetime network. So what else should we talk about? Did we solve all the problems yet?
Oh my God, no. I don't even think we even scratched the surface of even talking about what the problems really are.
Oh, good. You mean we have more to talk about?
I think so.
Oh, good.
There's so much.
That's the trouble with current events, is they keep happening.
Yeah.
They're so current.
I know.
They're so current.
It just keeps happening.
Dang, why do these current things keep being current?
Our Secretary of State, Colin Powell, he was on 3 different television shows this morning. He was on Fox
Talking
News
about?
talking about what's going on in Iraq specifically, but also the Israeli-Palestinian. He was in Jordan, and that's why George Stephanopoulos went to Jordan.
Oh.
That's why he was interviewing King Abdullah in Jordan. And they're actually outside. It was a beautiful day, and they were doing the interview outside. It was really kind of neat, with the ocean, the sea, and I assume it was the Dead Sea in the background, and up high on a cliff, the beautiful patio. Sun was shining, the wind was blowing. It was a beautiful day. And they were doing an interview outside, and it just looked gorgeous. So George Stephanopoulos interviewed Colin Powell. Colin Powell was also on Meet the Press with Tim Russert. He was also on Fox News. Jeez. So he's doing the rounds. They do that a lot with the administration. They try and cover all the bases in one day. Right.
So you can get the word out there.
So you can get the word out.
He's got to propagate his word, just like all religion has to propagate their words, just like any organization has to propagate themselves to stay alive. Any real species has to propagate in order to stay alive. So we come back to the sex drive.
Just like I said before, just because it's propaganda doesn't mean it's not the truth. It can be the truth and still be propaganda.
Agreed.
And it can, because it is an attempt to present your side in a positive light.
The information that is going on. Yeah. And God knows we need that.
And we do need that. And we need more truth.
And God should be watching out justice. For all of us.
Who?
God.
It's a good thing God's not here.
God is watching you, mister.
That's from The Simpsons as well. They're in church, and Ned Flanders is hallucinating, and the stained glass panels of saints are talking to him, and they're talking to each other, and they're fighting, and one of them says to the other saint, it's a good thing God's not here. They're in church. I mean, that's why that's funny. So, I guess you had to be there.
No, it is cute.
I'm a big fan of The Simpsons. I know you guys know that. I don't know if you know that, but I'm a huge fan of The Simpsons.
I'm starting to know that.
It just gets more and more clever. I mean, some of the shows I've seen 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and there are details and there are aspects of the way they say things and what they say that just continue to amaze me how clever it is. Even the new shows, 14, 15 years later, they just continue to be very clever.
He's thinking of something.
Thinking of something. It's funny again. Homer went to, Lisa, the daughter, did something, and to benefit Homer. And Homer says to Lisa, he says, you stood up for me even after all of those mean things I said about you. And Lisa looked up at him and goes, "What mean things? When?" And that was the whole joke. There was no backstory. There was no follow up. That was the whole joke. That somehow Homer is saying bad things about Lisa,
about his own kid.
It's just silly.
It's silly, but that's why you like it, because it pokes fun at society.
It does,
and it pokes fun at
brilliant social commentary.
At all different social commentaries,
satire.
Because there's a lot of racial jokes.
There is.
There's ton of them.
Jokes about everything, and nothing is sacred. Whether it's religion or sex.
I think that helps people to be able to
be.
talk about things, though, and start having a dialogue about things. Don't you think?
I do. Laughter is not frivolous. It's not
very important.
It's not just something we do to pass the time. It's how we deal with tragedy. Frankly, we make jokes about 7 astronauts, dying in the Columbia shuttle. We make jokes about stuff. I mean, the Jews are famous for their humor, and yet they've suffered throughout history. They've been persecuted throughout history. Beginning, pretty much
long time ago.
Jesus was a Jew.
Jesus was a Jew,
and he was punished.
And he did not seek to create a new religion. He just wanted to clean up his own.
He just wanted to have people love each other.
He's got a great message.
That's it.
He really does. He's got a great message. Now, if only more people would live that way.
If only more people would really know what his real message was, and then practice that. Then we'd be all okay, because he was teaching personal responsibility.
He was.
That's what he was teaching. And that's the thing that I think is the weakest part of America. I think there are some people that are personally responsible. You are.
Not just America, though.
Yeah, the world.
The world.
The world.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think America's the strongest country in the world.
So we have a greater
opportunity to be personally responsible.
To be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
So I agree with that. People with the greatest power and the greatest authority, they have a greater responsibility to use that power and use that authority in a responsible way.
You hope, because then it's going to help all of us. Or
it's the difference between a child and an adult. I mean, children are not expected to behave responsibly. They're expected to be selfish and because that's just human nature. And at some point, hopefully, they grow out of that and they become responsible adults. But for much of the population, that just does not happen.
Dang. Why not?
Well, we're not teaching that, and we don't.
Why don't we teach that?
Well, we don't teach. How can selfish teach unselfishness? That's what you're asking. I mean, the same came up years ago when our brother's wife talked about the schools teaching ethics. Well, it's a corrupt system. You're asking corruption to teach ethics. You can't.
We should at least have that in our public offering as far as education goes, and also
but that's parental responsibility.
And also
the purpose of school. Yep. The purpose of school isn't to provide morality. It's to provide education.
Right.
And morality should come from the home.
But you're asking
immoral. So we're back to parental responsibility then.
Yeah, but if the parental responsibility is not able to have the education either, or any information coming in, you got to be able to reach it somewhere. So in our educational system, we should have ethics, but all different types of ethics, religion, all different types of religion. We should be able to study that throughout the world so we can also learn tolerance and understand.
Should we require that in the 5th grade or the 6th?
That I don't know. But I think it should be part of our upbringing. Also business and money and how to deal with that and how to deal with, utility bills and credit cards and credit and banking. I think all those things that we have to do as an adult should be taught.
Well, but that's what you go to school for. That's taught as fundamentals.
You're talking about life skills.
Yeah. But how can you teach life skills to a 5th grader?
Exactly.
You teach him how to read, you teach him how to do math, you teach him how to, reason or stuff like that, but...
Well, you hope, and also they cut all the arts out, Cynthia, too, after-school programs and things like that, which
we're back to money then, aren't we?
Well, not really. I mean, they have the money. They just aren't spending it wisely. The administrators make more money than the teachers.
But that's true in any industry.
Not true.
It is true.
That's not true in my industry. Editors and colorists and things like that make way more money than me, and I'm the administrator.
Well, whose fault is that?
Mine. Stop blaming me.
Well, money, the amount that you make is a function of how easily you can be replaced. That's why ditch diggers make so little, because they can very easily be replaced. Editors and colorists, it's very difficult to replace them. Soldiers and sailors and
they make them.
The
easy
more
to
specialized something
the
is,
more specialized, the more,
and the harder you are to replace because you are specialized.
Right.
Are the people who make more of the money?
Doctors
and they
surgeons,
should because they are
should.
specialized.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I'm not condemning
But that's why.
capitalism.
Well, I'm
in
saying
favor
that
of it.
I think teachers should make more money.
They should.
But you're asking the
over the administrators
but
too, or
you're
share the money.
You're suggesting that administrators should give teachers more money. That's what you're saying. So out of their own pockets, because it
needs to be redistributed properly.
When something is supported by tax money, it is a zero sum system, which means that if you take it from somewhere, if you give it somewhere, it has to come from somewhere.
Right.
Open systems are not zero sum. The economy as a whole is not zero sum. Capitalism is not zero sum. If you can create wealth, then you create wealth. If you can produce a product that sells, great. But any system that is supported by tax money, that is a zero sum system, and that is the problem with public schools. If you take it from somewhere, if you want to give it to someone, it has to come from somewhere. And so you're suggesting that an administrator decide for himself and with other administrators that they're going to give up money that would normally go in their pocket.
They can't do that. They're incapable of it.
They're not going to do that.
They're not going to do it.
Because it doesn't serve them.
Right. And they're incapable of doing that. And you could never put somebody in a position to do that.
So the governor and the legislatures need to pass a law.
Well, we just need to have it structured differently. Our whole educational system it's not working. It's not working. If it was working, I wouldn't have to say a thing about it. But it's very clear that it doesn't work.
I disagree. The fact that it is working for the most part doesn't mean it cannot be improved.
I didn't say it can't. I didn't say that...
you said it wasn't working or you wouldn't have to say anything about it.
Right. It isn't working.
It is working. It is an amazing system. It produces incredible amounts of information and for the most part produces intelligent, articulate, and responsible young people. Have you been
checking out the test scores lately?
I'm not interested in test scores.
Oh, okay.
I'm interested in comparing today's teenagers with teenagers of the past.
Worse.
Much better.
Worse now.
I disagree. I mean,
okay, we're getting our stats. We're getting our stats out, and we're looking at it.
Well, the question becomes, how far back are we going?
Just go 10 years.
I'm not going 10 years. I'm
Why?
going 100. Okay, and I'm talking about.
You can't go 100.
But there's more information.
You can't go 100,
well.
dude.
Why can't I go 100?
Because.
Why can you go 10 and I can't go 100?
Because we're just talking about the modern. I mean, there was not even a government.
That wasn't a word. What were we talking about?
The modern educational system. I just didn't finish the sentence. Okay. I said the modern. We're talking about the modern, man.
Okay.
We're talking about the modern educational system that's not working.
But you're basing your opinion on test scores.
No, I'm basing my opinion on actually being part of the school systems and mentoring in them and seeing the kids and how they are and also seeing how what they're learning, what's being cut, and how they are with each other. They're disrespectful, they're rude, they have no values, they're not taught discipline.
That's a reflection of our society.
It's actually a reflection of how the school system is structured. It is how the school system is structured.
Yeah, but the way the school system is structured is a reflection of our society.
Correct.
And children have always been disrespected.
That's right.
There's an inscription in the pyramids about how disrespectful the children are. It's always been that way.
You're so funny. In the pyramids. Let's go back in history.
But do you see how my perspective is a much longer view?
No, you know what though? When I was in high school, I did not talk meanly to the teachers and talk back to them. Absolutely not. You went to detention. You did not talk back to a teacher, and you did not give them any lip, and you did not fight in the halls,
But you
went
But
to
you didn't
detention.
have a gun in your pocket either. So.
No, exactly.
Well, and you also, if you know,
That's what I'm saying. Disrespectful and rude.
That's
rude.
because
it's gang-like warfare.
But not for the most part. There are instances
downtown Los Angeles, most public school systems are like that. There's gang-related incidents. That's why there's all these cops and security on campus now. There's all these issues that have come up.
So you have pointed out the problem. What is the solution?
Well, that's
the
whole
sticky wicket right
other
there.
show.
Yeah.
That's a whole other show. And I actually don't know all of the solutions. I don't. And
Wait.
Wait.
You want to take this or you want me to?
I don't even know if I know any
Thank
of the
you.
solutions.
That's exactly where I was going.
Oh, well, why don't you let me finish then, you
Because
bastards?
your sentence was, I don't know all of the solutions. You know most of them.
And
You're
I was
just missing a couple.
Yeah, and I was going to say,
We're back to putting you in charge, aren't we?
Yes, we
Can I be
are.
your Secretary of Education?
Yes.
Because that way I can stuff my own pockets without accountability.
Perfect. That's the
for
kind
me.
of person
Works
that I
for me.
want
Yeah.
in my
Well, I'm gonna hide
office
it from
with
you.
me. Oh, okay, thanks.
I'm gonna have the kids perform to the test scores, and you're gonna think it's all good.
Oh, wee-hee! It's all.
I'm gonna teach the kids how to
My
take the
society's
test.
working. My society's
give them
working.
the answers
I'm
to
gonna
the
give them
test.
the
You're going to give them
answers to
the
the
answers?
test, yeah.
Answers to the test.
Yeah.
These are the
I
answers.
will write the test. I will give them the answers to the test. They'll have great test scores.
Cassie, look at the
and
test
you'll
scores.
think it's all good.
I'll go, oh, okay, it's all better now.
And we can dance around a campfire and sing Kumbaya.
No, I don't know if I am going to know all the solutions, and I can for sure tell you that I might not even know any of the solutions. Okay? But I can say for sure.
Okay.
For sure.
You can say.
But I can say this.
For sure.
For sure.
Okay.
Getting really valley on you, aren't I? What I can say for sure is that something needs to change, and we need to focus and pay the people that are teaching our children's not only with the value of money, but also with the utmost respect and the discipline that is required to raise many different children in an educational environment, because they do that 8 hours a day.
She said doo-doo.
They do that. Do.
Doo-doo.
You are so weird.
But aren't you putting an awful lot of responsibility on the teachers when a lot of that should come from the home?
I think if it could come from the home, I think it would have already. I think we have produced so many people that are so ignorant that they don't even know what they're supposed to do as a parent.
But who produced them?
We did, as people.
Who's we?
People.
People produced people who are ignorant?
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Why?
You're just talking about the human race being ignorant.
Right.
No one produced that.
Well, human beings did.
Human beings produced people who are ignorant. And so the challenge to make them no longer ignorant
is education.
Is a public school system.
Is some type of
that
education.
Is imperfect. And that does require constant monitoring.
Yes.
And constant change.
Constant.
In order to
keep up with what needs to be known.
With the continuing challenge of educating the new generation.
With the things that are at...
Well said, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, in between the little statements, I finished your sentences.
Okay,
in between.
You want some credit for how well said that was?
Exactly. Okay. I helped you say that stuff.
I mean, I agree with you that there are changes that need to be made, but I think fundamentally it's an amazing system. It's a sound system for educating the American, for educating people and educating children. But people, at some point, education becomes your own responsibility.
Not at some point. Always.
No, that's not true. A 10-year-old is not responsible for his own education.
He is, though.
He
That's
needs to
what
be forced to learn.
Well, he can be
or he
forced
doesn't
to
want
learn. No, he can be forced to
But
learn.
learning is not always fun. Learning can actually be painful.
I know,
and difficult.
But you have to find rewards for that that child or student will benefit from, so it makes it fun for them. Because if it's not fun and if it's not interesting, they will not learn and they will not participate. And they will be the ones that grow up ignorant. So we have to find other ways to connect, to have people plug in, to get the information so they want to do it. So it becomes a personal responsibility at 10 as well. That's why I'm saying that it is important.
The purpose of the government then is to educate the educators.
The purpose of the government
is to educate the educators so that the educators can educate the students. That's the real challenge, is finding a way that is flexible enough and that you can address all different people, because some people do fall through the cracks. Some people do become hostile and violent and unpleasant, and they don't want to be there. And so we have a system in place to address that as well.
Yeah, but that system doesn't really work.
I think it works remarkably well and amazingly well. There are problems.
Those are the ones that go to jail and that live their life out in jail that we pay for the rest of their lives. And I don't believe in that type of system. That's why I don't think it's working. I personally think there's an issue with that. What?
Well,
come on.
Well, you're talking...
Get your dukes up!
But you were saying gangs and stuff like that. How is that the responsibility of the school when a 10-year-old goes home from school, if he even goes to school that day, and he lives in that environment where they just perpetuate that generation after generation?
Exactly.
That's not the school's responsibility.
No, absolutely
change
not.
the community.
It's
absolutely
considered a badge
not.
of honor to have been put in jail. That's considered a good thing in some cultures.
Well, plus I think you have to look at the diversity of the children these days. When I was going to school, there was no Mexicans and blacks. You lived in they lived in their own communities. You look at the schools now, and there's Vietnamese, Korean, black, Hispanic, white.
Some of them don't even speak English.
And some of them don't even speak English. So, what is a teacher supposed to be like, trilingual, just to teach a class?
How are you supposed to have a system in place that addresses all of their needs?
You can't.
You can't. So those are challenges.
Those needs have to be
addressed.
At home.
At home. The school can't be responsible for every single... this is just what every single need of every single child.
No, not every single need of every single child, but what I think we should do is be able to educate about society, about religion, and talk about things, talk about life skills that they might not get at home, especially from all of the dumbing down that has transpired already. There's going to be a lot of people, there's going to be some catching up to do as well. But there's a lot of people don't understand life skills. I'm just really, really blessed because I personally did not understand it, nor was I taught it.
And yet you found your way.
I found my way because I forced myself to learn it.
Because you took responsibility for your own education.
100% about everything in my life.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, personal responsibility.
Right.
Even when you were a little... I mean, for me, I had to do it when I was 16.
Well, you were quite ambitious.
Yeah. I thought I really knew stuff when I was 16.
I'm sure every 16-year-old thinks they know stuff.
No, but I knew everything.
That's what I'm saying.
Everything. I knew the answers. There were no questions that I did not know the answers to.
Then why aren't you teaching?
Because I realized that
there's
I was
no money in
it. First off, there's no money. And two, I realized that I had no idea what I was really talking about.
Yeah. She got to 20 and realized she wasn't so smart.
I went, huh.
Ooh, that's not quite what I thought it was.
Wait a second. I thought, yes, you did think, didn't you, Miss Crews?
But that served you well as well, because...
it helped me go blindly and boldly into places I would have never gone before. Or after, actually. Once you get a little smarter, you go, wait a sec. And also you become a little more self-conscious and a little more security-oriented and a little more closed down, a little more untrusting as you proceed in the things that you think were so, wonderful. And that's what I'm talking about, information. Because there are some things that I think that are missing as far as being able to have some life skills. I don't think Donna, the homeless lady that I met who's 47, I don't think she has been taught life skills.
Well, right now she is in a home that she doesn't like. But one of the things that they're trying to teach her in that home is life skills. And one of the life skills that people need to learn is to follow the rules, and she doesn't like the rules.
I know.
So it becomes the government's responsibility to educate her in ways that she doesn't want to be educated. And so we're back to you thinking it needs to be made fun. When I'm saying that some things are not fun, and at some point you have to take responsibility for yourself and say, my education is my responsibility. Whether that happens at 15 or whether it happens at 25, I don't know. But it is not the school's place to
have it available, to have information available.
No, the information is available. The information, we have public libraries where you can go and find the information. But I'm saying that you're suggesting that they need to make it interesting and fun.
Yeah, I am.
Learning isn't always interesting. It's not always fun.
But you won't learn.
Sometimes it's boring.
Yeah, but I don't learn when it's boring.
I do.
You do?
Yeah. Sometimes.
Do you learn when it's boring?
Sometimes I will pursue information just for the sake of having information.
Yeah, but that's you. You're
even
a
if
freak.
I don't like it.
You're a freak.
I'm a brilliant freak.
You're a techno.
You're just jealous.
I know.
Because he knows everything.
And what are you? And what are you?
Me?
I know what I am, but what are you?
Glue sticks to me. How's that go? I'm rubber and you're glue. That's how it goes.
And whatever you say bumps off me and sticks
bounces
on you. Oh, bounces. Yeah. Bumps. Rubs and bumps.
Or my other favorite is it takes one to know one.
Ouch.
Ouch. Now I've gone too far.
Oh, yeah. Oh, now you've really reached out there.
I know you are, but what am I?
You're a sweet, innocent girl. Kumbaya, my lord.
I mean, ultimately, it does come down to some point you have to take responsibility for yourself. And most people, really, around the world, don't want to do that. They want other people to help them. They want to make other people responsible for their problems.
God, would somebody please take responsibility for my problems and make me happy? Just take the stuff and then turn it around and make happiness happen.
You know, and happiness is overrated, frankly.
I know you don't have a thing about it. I do, though.
It's not that
my
I
whole
don't
thing
have a
is
thing. Of course I want to be happy, and I want other people to be happy. It's not that I don't have a thing.
You said, I don't want to be happy.
I said
like, I pray for your happiness. I don't want to be happy.
Well, happiness isn't a goal for me. To me, happiness is for children on Christmas morning. But the pursuit of life is not the pursuit of happiness.
Ah, that's my pursuit.
The pursuit of life is the pursuit of meaning.
Aha.
And service.
Aha.
And it ain't necessarily happy to serve.
Amen. Oh, wait, sorry. I just want to say aha.
Can I get an amen, brother?
Amen, brother. Amen, brother.
You know, and that's my point. You know, there's a tremendous amount of misery in the world. And if you or I can alleviate that misery, doesn't necessarily make me happy, but it does make life worthwhile. It does provide meaning to my life.
Is that why I was a little uncomfortable yesterday while I was trying to provide some meaning?
Yeah,
to my life.
we were knocking heads a little bit yesterday. I kept my mouth shut for the most part, but
he was very good. He was not happy with me.
It's not that I wasn't happy. I mean, again, we're back to happy. It's not that I wasn't It's not that I was unhappy with you.
He wasn't pleased with me.
That was the issue. She got in an argument with the parking attendant over $5 because someone misunderstood something, or he said the wrong thing or something.
Yeah, he told me that it was $2.50.
It was a different parking attendant. That's what was so.
And he told me it was $2.50 when I came in, and then all of a sudden, now when I walk back out, $8. I go, it was $2.50 when I.
So she's yelling at
here,
and Mexican guy.
I go, were you? I go, were you here? Were you here earlier? Were you the one that told me? He goes, no, another guy. And I go, well, the guy told me it was only $2.50. He goes, $8.
So then she wants to get on the phone and call management, and she's on some voicemail system, and
he was not happy with me
in the parking lot.
Or not pleased.
You know, either pay the man and let's go, or don't pay the man and let's go. Just let's go.
I had a dilemma going on. Yeah?
I'm glad I wasn't there.
It was odd.
Yeah, yeah.
It was odd, but it wasn't that big a deal.
It wasn't that big of a deal, but it just happened on the tail end of me just being freaked out with another, person that's certifiably insane, and it's a person that I've been helping, and boy,
it's hard.
They turn on you.
Yeah, it's very difficult to reach
trying
people.
To understand, different people, and also it was just coming off the tail of that too. So it was just, and then I don't know why, but I could not figure out the video cassette. I've never not been able to figure out any gear, so it was really strange for me. But there was no manual, so.
And you were still playing with this morning too. It's like, why won't that door close?
Close. Come on, close. I love technology. Technology is just so very, very awesome. But man,
sometimes the simple things are so frustrating.
Just even turning this on today, I had a whole issue with it.
She's pointing to her computer.
Oh, turning on this.
The coffee maker. Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. What are your closing thoughts about what we chatted about? Any closing thoughts, Cynthia?
Oh, no closing thoughts.
I love how professional she is. We're the only people listening. She wants closing thoughts for us too. Apparently, I don't know. Like you're leaving or something. Yeah, like
I have no closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts, Dan?
Well, it was a pleasure to be here, and look forward to seeing.
But I won't be back.
Look forward to seeing you all again. It was nice to have Cynthia here. I hope she joins us again.
It was nice to have Cynthia here, wasn't it?
No, it was nice to be here. Yes, thank you.
Hope you had a good time.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. You'll be joining us again. Come on, via the satellite.
Yeah, there you go.
Via satellite.
We'll video conference from
my house up north in the woods.
Yeah.
Exactly. Well, thank you, everybody, and
thanks for coming.
We'll see you next time.
Say goodnight, Gracie.
Good night, Gracie.